Right now, somewhere, ChatGPT is telling a puppy owner which 3 dog food brands to buy. But look at the sources under that answer, the pages it read to decide, and almost none of them belong to a dog food company. So whose pages are they? The brands get named in the answer, but the pages that earn them that spot belong to total strangers. The strangest one is a single pet sitter's blog, sitting above brands worth billions. We pulled apart about 6,500 of these AI answers last month, and the same pattern turns up in almost every industry, including yours. So today, how do you find the pages that are answering questions about your product and make one of them yours? First, where this comes from, so you know I am not guessing. We track what the 5 big AI engines cite when people ask them buying questions: ChatGPT, Gemini, Perplexity, Claude, and Grok, and we write down every page they pull to build every answer. Last month, that came to about 6,500 citations across nearly 1,500 different websites. Real answers to real buying questions pulled apart one link at a time. Then we sorted every one of those pages by a simple question: who owns this page? Is it a news site, a forum, a review platform, a video, or a company's own blog or product page? And the sort came back lopsided in a way I did not expect. 7 out of every 10 pages the engines quoted are company blogs and product sites. Not news, not Reddit, not the big review platforms. Ordinary company blogs, the same kind of blog your business already has. Everything else is a sliver next to that. Videos are about 1 in 10, forums and Reddit less than 1 in 12, and news barely shows up at all. So you might hear that and relax, because you have a blog, you post to it. Surely you are in the game. Here's the catch, and it is the whole video. When an engine answers a question about dog food, the company blog it quotes is almost never a dog food company's blog. It is some other company's blog that happened to answer the question better. Your category is being explained to your buyers in the exact moment they are choosing by pages that do not belong to you. And that pet sitter from a moment ago? I will come back to her because she is the clearest proof of what wins a spot. Why would a machine skip the actual dog food companies and quote outsiders? Because the engine is not looking for the best company, it is looking for the best answer. It wants one clean passage it can lift, a few lines that answer the exact question in plain words. Now look at how the average brand blog opens. The founding story, the passion for nutrition, the photo of the dog in the warehouse. Lovely for a human, useless to a machine hunting for how many grams a 10-week-old puppy should eat in a day. Meanwhile, some other site has a page that answers that exact question in its first 2 lines with a number. The engine does not care who wrote it. It quotes the page that is written as an answer, the question at the top, the response right under it, nothing in the way. That is the entire selection logic, and it runs fresh on every question every single day. Your blog is not losing on authority, it is losing on shape. Now the good news, and it is specifically ChatGPT good news. When we split those citations by engine, ChatGPT points at a brand's own website roughly 1 time in 4, the best odds any of the 5 engines gives your own pages. Claude is down around 6%, Gemini around 1 in 10. So on ChatGPT, the engine this whole video is about, the door to being quoted on your own site is wide open compared to everywhere else. Roughly 1 slot in 4 is there for a brand's own page to take if the page is shaped for it. And to be clear about what that slot is worth, there are 2 different prizes in an AI answer. Being named is the recommendation itself, your brand in the sentence a buyer reads. Being cited is your page as the source underneath, with a real link a buyer can click. The brands that get both are the ones the engine keeps coming back to because their own pages keep proving the claim. Which raises the obvious question, shaped how? Let me make it concrete with that puppy food question. Say you run Good Bowl, a small dog food company doing things right, and you are up against Wagtail, the big established name, and Dingo, the one in every supermarket. Wagtail's puppy feeding post is 2,000 beautiful words that open with their heritage and get to actual feeding amounts somewhere around scroll 5. Good Bowl instead rewrites one single post titled, "How much food does a puppy need?" The first 2 lines answer it. A young puppy eats 3 to 4 times a day, and here are the daily amounts by weight in a small table. Underneath, short sections with honest headings, one for each follow-up a new owner asks, and every section opens with its answer before any background. A real date at the top, from this month. Machines love that table. because a number in a labeled row is the easiest thing in the world to quote without getting it wrong. Ask the engine the question now, and Goodbull's page is the easy lift. Wagtail still ranks higher on Google. Goodbull is the one getting read out loud. Now for the strange citation I promised you at the start. Look at the third source under that same answer, and it is not Goodbull, not Wagtail, and not Dingo. It is a local pet sitter's blog, a one-person business, with a post called, "What Food Do Vets Recommend for Puppies?" She is not a dog food company. She has no product in the race. But her post asks the buyer's exact question in its title and answers it in its first line, so the machine reaches for her page over brands worth billions. That is how little the engine cares about size and how much it cares about shape. 7/10 of AI answers are built from pages like hers, ordinary pages that answer things and nothing else. And she is not an accident. We see pages like hers all through the data, small sites winning citations in categories they do not even sell in. The bar is not fame. The bar is a page that answers. So here is the rewrite, and you can do it this week on the handful of pages that matter. Put the answer first. Take your most important buying question, make it the title of the page, and answer it in the first 2 sentences, plainly enough that the passage would make sense read out on its own. Then let every section underneath do the same thing in miniature. A heading that is a real question or a plain label, an opening line that answers it, the background after. What you are undoing is the instinct to warm the reader up before you get to the point. The machine does not warm up. It scans the top of the page, grabs the cleanest, self-contained answer it can find, and moves on. Short paragraphs, real numbers, actual product names. Hand it the lift. The second fix is the quiet one. Label the page so a machine knows what it is looking at. There is a small piece of code called schema markup that sits behind your page and says, in machine terms, this block is a product, here is its price, these blocks are questions and their answers. Your visitors never see it, and most site builders can switch it on for your key pages without you writing a line of code. It turns your page from a wall of prose into a labeled map. It is one of the few things you can do in a single afternoon that changes how a machine reads every page you have. Unglamorous, done once, and it keeps paying. Third, keep the page alive. Engines lean toward pages that look currently true, and a post you wrote last year reads as last year's answer, even if nothing about it changed. So make it a small habit. Once a month, touch the pages that matter with something real. An updated number, this year's comparison, a current date near the top. A page that changed this month looks like an answer somebody still checks. A page from last spring looks abandoned, and it reads that way to the engine too. Not a common nudge, the machine is not fooled by a cosmetic edit. A real touch that says somebody still stands behind this answer. Now, about the 7/10 of citations you can never fully own. Most of what gets quoted will still be other people's pages, the roundups, the comparison posts, the review sites, pages like our pet sitters. You cannot write all of those, but you can be in them. Find the pages the engines already quote for your category and get your brand into them. The reviewer who has never tried you, the roundup that left you out, the comparison post that predates your latest product. And you have a reason to reach out that helps them too, because those pages live on being current and you are handing them an update. Your own site is one door into the answer. Every outside page that names you is another. And before any tool, here is the free check that shows you where you stand today. Ask ChatGPT your buyer's question, the one that should end in your product, and then read the sources it lists under the answer. Write down who owns each page, your site, a competitor's, a review platform, or some stranger's blog that answers the question better than anyone in your industry does. That short list is the honest map of your category. It shows you which of your pages to rewrite first and which outside doors are worth knocking on. Most brands have never once looked at it. 10 minutes and you will know more about your AI visibility than most of your competitors know about theirs. Doing that once tells you about today, but the answers move, sources get swapped in and out, and next month the map is different. That is the part LoudMink does for you. It asks your buyer questions across all 5 engines every week and records whether you were named, whether you got a real link, and exactly whose pages were quoted instead of yours. So the moment a pet sitter or your competitor starts answering for your category, you see it as a line on a chart, not as a quiet month of lost sales. If you want that map for your brand right now, you can run the free scan at loudmink.ai. It takes about a minute to start, and it checks all 5 engines, not ChatGPT alone. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.